everyone, I'm Annemarie with Speak Confident English, and welcome to this week's Confident English lesson where I'm joined by Kelly. Kelly is going to chat with me today about making plans with friends in English, and we're going to compare Australian English and American English. But before we get into that, for those of you who have not joined me for Fluency School this year, or if you're not in one of my courses, then Kelly might be new to you, but she is not new to Speak Confident English. She actually joined us back in March, and Kelly works with me in Fluency School and in the Advanced Conversation course. So Kelly, before we start talking about how we both make plans with friends in English and compare your Australian English and my American English, will you give us a quick overview of who you are?
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I'm, as well as being a language teacher, I'm a passionate language learner. So I spent a long time learning Chinese, and I'm learning Italian at the moment. And I lived in China for a long time where I taught English, and I lived there about 9 years altogether. So I live back in Australia now, and I've been teaching in the university, teaching English there, and I'm so happy to be part of Speak Confident English. I've met so many lovely students so far, and I look forward to meeting many more.
Absolutely. Well, it's been super fun to have you, and I love that our students get to experience these two sides of English. So today we thought it would be fun to share with our Confident English community some of the differences between Australian and American English. So we're going to focus on three things today. We're going to talk about the language that Kelly and I use for making plans, and then what we say when we want to agree to a plan, when something sounds good to us, or what we say when we're too tired or too busy or we just can't do something. So those are our three focus areas. If you enjoy this lesson, if you find this one helpful and you like this kind of interaction with Kelly and I, and you want to see more lessons about Australian versus American English, be sure to let me know. The best way that you can do that is to give this a thumbs up on YouTube, share it on Facebook, or comment at the end of the lesson below the video. Those are three perfect ways to let me know that you enjoyed this lesson and found it useful. So Kelly, let's dive in and let's talk about what we both say if we're going to try to make some plans with friends for the weekend or maybe next month. So my first question is for you, how do you prefer to do it? Do you use text, email, phone calls? What do you do?
I am a texter. Yeah, I'm notorious for texting, but also now I use voice messages. So WhatsApp and things like that, because I feel like with voice messages, I can say everything that I want to say. I can have my tone is clear. I sound friendly. There's no misunderstanding, and people can listen to it whenever they're free, rather than calling them. I feel like if I call someone, they might be busy. I might be interrupting them. Yeah. What about you? Do you normally call or text?
Yeah, I'm definitely a texter. I haven't gotten on the WhatsApp train yet. I know it exists. I know people love it. I just haven't done it. I've never done a voice message or voice, whatever you call it. But
yeah, that's me every day.
Yeah, I don't do it. I text all the time, and I actually don't love phone calls, so I don't call people very often, only if I have to. So if you're texting or doing a WhatsApp voice message, what do you say when you want to make plans with a friend?
So normally, this is usually the case for me. I'll say something like, it's been ages, because, I'm usually so busy that I don't see people. So, it's been ages. I'd love to catch up. Are you free this week, anytime this week or this weekend? Something like that.
Okay. So I heard you use the phrasal verb catch up. I'd love to catch up, which I would use as well. What does that mean?
So catch up really does mean you want to hang out with someone, which is another phrasal verb, but that you want to spend time with someone. And in fact, I don't know if you say this in America as well, but we say a catch up. We are overdue for a catch up as well. You say that?
Maybe. I'm not sure. It's not something I would say, but perhaps.
It might be one of the Aussie ones.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I've heard it, but it doesn't sound that strange to me. If someone said it, I would definitely understand what they meant. But that's interesting. I think if I were texting someone, the first thing I would say is I would kind of test the waters, as we would say, and I would just check in to see if they're actually free. So I'd probably say something like, hey, what are you up to this weekend? Just to find out if they've already got plans or not before I even suggest the idea that we should do something. I don't know, do Do you use anything like that?
Yeah, I think so. And I like the way you explain test the waters because you really want to see where do we stand for this weekend.
Right.
But sometimes when I receive a message like that, I'm not sure if the person is just seeing what my plans are, just to know, or if they actually then want to make a plan with me. So
Right.
sometimes I'm confused if I get a text, like if you send me a text like that,
Yeah, that's a fair
does she
point.
want to catch up or does she just want me to tell her all the things I'm doing?
Um,
Mhm.
so let's say that someone responds and you've asked them to catch up, or they say, "Oh, I'm totally free this weekend." What would be your next step? What would you say?
I'm not very good at making decisions about what to do with them. So I would put the ball in their court and say, okay, great. What do you want to do? What should we do? Should
Okay.
we do dinner or what are you up for?
Yeah. What are you up for? Interesting. Okay. And I heard you say, I put the ball in their court. So that's a great idiom. What does that mean?
Yeah. So just like in the game of tennis, when someone has the ball, they have the control. So because I'm terrible at making decisions about plans, I will give them the control and put the ball in their court so they can decide what we will do and tell me.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah.
Are you good at suggesting what you would like to do with
Yeah.
someone?
No, I'm kind of the same. I'm a little bit indecisive. So I'll say something vague like let's get coffee, or let's do dinner this weekend if you're free. Or it might be something really vague like, well, let's make some plans. And then it's kind of pushing it back on them, which isn't very,
Yeah.
but I push it back on them to like get some ideas of what we could do or organize something. Um, so let's say that you've got a plan made. You're both excited about getting together. You're ready to catch up. You're both free for the weekend. Maybe you both have Saturday afternoon free and you want to say, yes, let's do this. What would you say? How do you agree to a plan?
Sounds good. That's my go-to. Sounds
Yeah,
good. Sounds good. Great. Let's do it.
absolutely. Sounds good. If there's something that's a little unusual or different, maybe we've made plans that we wouldn't normally do, I would say, I'm game. Do you have that expression? I'm game.
Yeah. Yeah. If for me to say that, it would have to be something quite strange, like
Okay.
skydiving or something.
Okay. Yeah.
Or something really out there.
Right.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
probably most plans to me are, yeah, fine. Like I'm willing to try any kind of food or go anywhere, but yeah, I'm game or I'm up for that. Yeah, I'd
Okay.
probably more likely say I'm up for that. I'm into
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny because I was just thinking as you were talking about the two other things I would say in English that sound total opposites, but they mean the same. I'm up for that, or yeah, I'm down. So we're using total
Yeah.
opposite words, but they both mean, yes, that sounds good. Yes, I would like to do that. Yes, let's plan for it. So I'm up for that. I'm down. I'm game, or sounds good. Or all.
I'm down. In fact, in Australia, we don't use that so much.
No. Okay.
It sounds quite American, and I probably wouldn't usually say that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I would more likely say I'm up for that. If someone said I'm down, I would get it, but I think they're very young or they're American. My age group, we probably wouldn't say it that way.
Right. Okay. There's one more that just came to mind, and I don't know if you use the same. We use a lot of different prepositions. I'm in, especially if I'm organizing something with a lot of people, or my friend is organizing a big dinner, and there's a lot of people on the text message or a lot of people on the email list. If I want to join, if I want to be available for that event, then I would say, yeah, I'm in. Do you have this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I would say also count me in.
Yeah, definitely. We would use the same. All right. So far, I think we have a lot of overlap, which is
Yeah.
surprising to me, actually. What about if you're too tired, too busy, or you have something else scheduled during that time? What would you say?
Yeah. This is where I think we've got a few Australian sayings that maybe you don't have. Like we would say, oh, I'm flat chat, which means I'm flat out. I'm busy. Do you
What,
say
what,
flat out and flat chat?
no, what did you say? I'm flat chat?
Flat chat. I'm too busy. I'm very busy. Do
I've
you
never
also
heard
say
that.
I'm flat out, or is that also an Australian one?
I think that's probably more Australian. If I heard I'm flat out, I would understand it. But if I heard I'm flat chat, I would have no idea what that meant. So I'm glad
Same.
you told me. I'm glad. Um, I would say I'm. I'm totally worn out. If I'm tired, I'm worn out. Or what else? I'm exhausted. I guess it's kind of boring. It's not a slang word or anything, but yeah, I'm worn out, or I'm wrecked. I'm totally wrecked.
Yeah.
So if I said I'm totally wrecked this weekend, it would be one, I have too much work to do. I have too many plans. There's no way I could meet them. And I'm maybe a little bit tired as well. So I'm wrecked. What about you?
Yeah.
Anything else other than I'm flat chat?
Flat chat really does mean that. It means you're really busy. So if you say I'm flat chat, or this weekend is chockers, we say this weekend is chockers, which means it's really full. Something's really full. I've filled it all up.
We definitely don't have that in American English. So again, we could say this weekend is wrecked.
Or wrecked means it's full.
It could just mean a lot of things. Like this weekend is just impossible for me for whatever reason. Either it's full, I've got too many things. I'm trying to think. More formally, I guess if I were talking to a colleague, I might say my plate is full. But that's really not quite something I would use with friends, really.
Wouldn't you? Oh gosh, I would say with friends, I'd say I've got a lot on my plate at the moment.
Yeah,
so can we do it next weekend?
Yeah, I've got too much going on. That's what I would probably say. I've got too much going on. So those are, if you're too busy, you're tired. What if you just don't want to, or you have something else planned? What would you say?
I would pretend that that I was busy.
Yes.
What would you say?
I would probably say something really general, like this weekend just doesn't work for me. Let's try for another week. And then there's a real commitment there. It's just, as you said, pretending that I'm too busy.
Yeah, there's a phrase I really like. Things are up in the air at the moment, which, really means that my plans are not really confirmed. There might be something going on, but I'm not sure. So, things are a little bit up in the air for this weekend. So can I get back to you? Maybe we can talk about it later.
Absolutely. We have the same for sure. So Kelly, now that we've got how you and I both make plans with friends, what we say when we want to agree, or what we say when we want to tell someone we're too tired, too busy, we're wrecked, we can't make the plans. I want to highlight 4 more things that you and I discovered were big differences between Australian and American English before we finish today's lesson. So let's highlight those 4 examples. The first one deals with organizing or making plans and getting it fixed. So what would you say, what was the example you had in Australian English?
Yeah, I would say something like it's in the diary. So, we've made the time, I've written it in my diary. But I was surprised when I said that to you. You said that wasn't what you would say.
I probably started laughing because for us in American English, a diary is where you write all your secret notes. Like when you're a teenager and you've got your special journal and you write your thoughts, your love, who you have a crush on. So a diary for me, secret. It's all my secret ideas and thoughts. But I
promise that's not what I'm writing it in. It's not.
But we would say something like, I've got it down. So if it's confirmed, if it's in my calendar, on my calendar, I'd say I've got it down, or it's on my calendar, it's noted down, or something like that. So that's what we would say, as opposed to I'm writing. If I was writing it in my diary, I'd be like, dear diary, I'm so excited that I have time with Kelly this weekend. Very different. So another one that we noticed was, if you were going to make plans with someone at a specific time of day, you have an abbreviation in Australian English that I'd never heard before.
We do, and we use it a lot. So instead of afternoon, we say arvo. So we would say, for example, for this afternoon, we're too lazy to say this afternoon, we say zarvo.
Zarvo. So there's
the zarvo.
The zarvo. You cut off the this, so zarvo.
Yeah, Zarvo. Zarvo. We run it together.
If I were in Australia, I would have no idea what that meant. We don't shorten this afternoon at all. I can't think.
It's so long.
Maybe another English person can check me out on that, but I don't think we have anything.
So you would text the whole word afternoon? Would you write the whole word out in the text message? So long.
Maybe in a text, if I wanted it to be really short, I would say, are you free in the PM? But That would be
Oh, yeah.
rare for me. I don't think yeah, I've seen it maybe once or twice. I've used it, but it's not common for me. I would just say, are you free in the afternoon? Yeah, it's funny though. Even with my closest friends, my sister, my husband, I would still write afternoon. I don't have I really can't think of a shortened phrase. So if someone's watching this and you're an American, I would love to know if you've got something similar to Margo. You can share it in the chat below. I'd love to know what it is. So another fun one that you and I found was different was asking someone to reach you by telephone. What would you say?
Yeah, we have a lovely phrase, give us a bell,
Give
which
us
means
a bell.
give us a bell, or give me, either way, give us a bell or give me a bell, which
Okay.
means call me. And for some reason we say us, even though I am a single person.
So interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
American English, we would say, give me a ring or give me a call. And most of the time, if it's just for me, I would say, give me a ring. I would only use us if some other family or couple were making plans with me and my husband, or with me and someone else. And then I would say, give us a ring this weekend, but only if it's inclusive with my whole family. But if it's just me, it's definitely give me a ring. Yeah.
I think we have a habit in Australia of using us when it's just yourself. Even if somebody had something that we wanted, we might say, give us that, which is rude. It's kind of really, yeah, with family members, give us that. Yeah, I don't know why we do that. It's
Super interesting.
very strange.
Yeah.
Look it up after this.
And if I heard that, I would try to figure out, well, to who, which person, because it is plural. I would have no idea. That's fascinating. So the last one for today, for this lesson, is making plans specifically to have a drink, a specific kind of drink. So what would you say?
So if I wanted somebody, for example, to come over maybe and have a cup of tea, we would say, hey, you want to come around for a cuppa?
A cuppa. So that's short for a cup of tea.
Tea always. It doesn't mean coffee, but when you get to my house, if you want coffee, you can have coffee. I won't force you to have only tea, but it really refers to cup of tea, a cuppa.
Okay, so would you say that tea is more common in Australian culture? Are people more likely to drink tea than coffee?
I think historically tea was more common, but now coffee has far overtaken anything, okay. Especially in Melbourne.
Yeah, so but you would still say cuppa as in a cup of tea, and then once they came over, you could switch it to coffee.
Yeah, it's just kind of very quaint Australian thing to say, like pop over for a cuppa.
Over. So we don't have pop over in English. Well, I mean, people use it, but it's not, I don't think it's typical American English to say pop over. If I hear that, I assume that they're using British or Australian English. It's not.
Oh, really?
American English to say pop over. We would say come on over. Come on over for a cup of coffee. And for us, it's always like, it's sort of for you always a cup of tea, and then you can switch to coffee if you want. We always assume it's a cup of coffee, and we don't have an abbreviation for it. Some people might say something like come over for a cup, but it insinuates coffee. But most of the time, why don't you come over for a cup of coffee this weekend? Is maybe
I've heard cup of joe. Do people really say that?
Cup of joe, definitely. Yeah, and you go to coffee shops, and there's always there's coffee shops, the name of the shop is Cup of Joe, or they'll have some sign in the shop, a cup of joe. I have no idea, honestly, where that came from. I should have done some research and looked into that. So, but we definitely say that. I'll have a cup of joe. Yeah. Well, Kelly, thank you so much for doing this lesson with me today. It was super fun, and I'm excited for the whole Confident English community to get to know you a little bit, since you're a big part of Speak Confident English. So for those of you watching, if you enjoyed this week, again, be sure to like it on Facebook, share it on YouTube and Facebook. Those are great ways to let me know that you enjoyed this lesson. Kelly, thank you, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon.